Yeah, I wasn't trained for greatness. I was thinking about that this morning. Actually, the last couple of days, I've been really often, I really struggle with reconciling the identity and how I grew up to what I do right now. So, for those of you who don't know, I am a professor of innovation. And, I'm at a really good school. Everybody would recognize it. They got a big football team, all that kind of stuff. Um, but how I was raised was not, and it wasn't necessarily how I was just raised, but I wasn't gonna be, I wasn't gonna do great things, right? Like, um, that wasn't in my family. That wasn't in the expectation on where I grew up. I grew up in a small, tiny town in Northern Ontario. Um, and it wasn't just part of the conversation to do any of the things that I've done so far. It's not, um, going away to university was an extraordinarily large thing. I was the only one in my family, a very long, extended family, to go away to university. Now there's a few of the younger kids now, 25 years later, 30 years later, that people are going to university. But um, even now, like, I just think about how challenging that is. And then in my family, I was the least expected of my, there were 6 siblings, and I was the least expected of going away to university, and to go do something like this. I was very much treated as, um, the least talented, the the not the smartest, right? Like, I was always like, "Oh my gosh." I was in special ed for many years when I was in elementary school, and, I was I was that person that, the movies are made out of, right? Like, a lot of movies are made out of the sort of Rudy type stories, um, and so that's the identity. And even when I go visit back home, and I go through a lot of when I go through, like, the visits and go through all of these weird emotions come up because it wasn't groomed for greatness. I think, like, that's one of the biggest things that me and, I think almost everybody that I run into in my other world, right? Like, my real world where I am a professor, I have, really great kids and all that kind of stuff is I I wasn't groomed for greatness. There was no conversation of going away. There was not, um, all of this emphasis on, success and all of that kind of stuff. My expectation was that I would just probably go work in the bush cutting down trees, because that's what we do in Northern Ontario. You would just, go cut down trees, or probably a logger, or work for the pulp and paper mill where I worked at. Um, but that was literally the expectation that was, and it's a wonderful life. I'm not saying, like, none of this is me being down on it. None of it is me being like, not, this is the wrong thing. It's just that I have to deal with this weird identity. Um, and everybody else around me has to deal with this weird identity too. And they don't know how to make sense of who I am. They it's just really strange of dealing with this. And it's very difficult, to be honest. But the because, when I went away, I thought everything would change, right? Like, and it did in my world of, being a professor and all that kind of stuff. Like, everything did change. But when I come back, all of these strange emotions come back of who I used to be And that's not me anymore. Right. And I I've since moved on dramatically from that person. And I do believe in that I'm gonna go do good things, right? I do believe that I'm actually gonna go talk to and reach 100 million people by the time I'm 50. Um, to you know, give them just joy and to recognize just like how grateful one should be, even in these kind of circumstances, right? Like those moments of growing up. Like I understand somebody might be listening to this and they might be thinking like, man, and they might be young, right? Like somebody that's quite young and they're thinking like, man, this sucks. Like my life is not coming together, or things are just harder than I thought they would be. Um, you know, somebody, and I trust me, I was bullied a lot. I was that kid. I was the Rudy kid, right? Like, I understand it. I was there. I lived it. And everybody that knows me from that life, they would understand what I'm talking about. They would see and they would tell you, yes, that was very, very true. Um, but here's the thing, if you're listening to this, I just want you to say, first of all, that when many people don't support you in your life, right? Like you have nobody, not a single person. There is one person that can support you, and that is your own mind. That is you, right? And that you can learn how to say stick it and have a real visceral, spite, have a real visceral, like, I'm done with this. Like those emotions, the people think that they're really bad, right? Like that they're harmful, but they're not, right? Like you harness them in such a way that you move forward, right? And it's only when you've had that experience that you didn't grow up with much, that um, people doubted you for an extraordinarily long time. They didn't think that you could do it. That um, that what you're doing is wrong. That uh, and you're doing the right thing. Like the world tells you get an education, right? It's not a big. I had to fight to get an education. I literally had to fight with my own dad um, to get an education. And my parents didn't see it. My grandparents, they thought I was gay because I was going to school. I'm not. I'm gonna. There's nothing wrong with that either. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, um, living in this kind of way, I've learned how to just turn all that stuff off, right? And you have to learn to turn that stuff off and just take those steps forward. It's like being a professional player on some field someplace and everybody's booing you and everybody's saying how terrible you are, but you have to realize that they're sitting there watching popcorn while you're doing it. And it takes a while. It may take you 20 years, it may take you 25 years of climbing. But when you hit that moment, right, you can look back and everybody, all those people that booed on you and that were bringing you down and all that kind of stuff, they're not there anymore. Or if they are, they're wondering how the hell did they do it. And I want you to remember that. Have that the visceral image in your heart and your brain of I'm just gonna walk forward. And everybody can make fun of me. I nobody's gonna take you seriously, but F 'em. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna change my life, and I'm gonna live a life that nobody else can live. Remember that. Take care. and have a wonderful day.